On today's Minute of the Apes, sometimes we sleep instead of playing Wait a second. Have we done this before?
Divine bomb.
They are the good human and the dead human. There is fire, there is smoke.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies 1 minute at a time.
Are you sure?
Hang on,
Okay.
I'm getting there. These two boys laughing and poking fun. That's Sean, that's Richard. We started originally, we're on a little tear because I told the story I got in a little bit of trouble in our guild in Star Wars: The Galaxy of Heroes because I could not commit time to it this week. And then all of a sudden I looked up and I'll be damned if the recording software was not telling us that we were doing the same 5 seconds over and over. We were caught in a loop.
We were Groundhog Daying it.
It was the worst of Groundhog Days. You didn't even get through your day. It was just a 5 second. And so it was literally looping and recording only 5 seconds. And the only thing that recorded in the end was, are we in a loop? So the ironic of that. Anyway, here we are. It's a Monday morning. We're scratching the sleep from our eyes, trying to get through.
So, yeah.
And Richard's over there manning the...
If that's Gertie clawing at a door to get out.
Gertie wants to come to all of our listeners and say good morning.
Gertie is being a pill this morning.
Richard is handling lists for his comics for Zeus Comics, which if you need anything, he would gladly welcome your business. You can find him at zeuscomics.com.
Thank you.
Address on Inwood.
1334 Inwood Road or ZeusComics.com online.
There you go. And he would welcome you in, his bright, shining, sweet face. Now, will he have his hair pulled back? We don't know when you see him because he came in today with flowing locks, but now it's pulled back. So you never know what you're getting.
Oh, my goodness.
But, wow, I'm just so, I guess I'm exuberant to not be caught in the loop again. So,
Yes.
are we ready for this?
Sure.
Are we ready for what this week is going to bring us? Because as Richard teased to us behind the scenes, this movie has sort of ground itself around and around. It was in the loop itself. And today, it tries to break free all at once.
It does.
So, with that, Sean, tell us what's going on in minute 56.
All right, we're going to start minute 56 with pyramids being horrible and ends with Thade approaching an ape in a bed.
All right, here we come. Minute 56. Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
That's horrible.
It would do worse to our own kind.
I don't understand. You seem to possess such intelligence.
Yeah, we're pretty smart. The smarter we get, the more dangerous our world becomes.
I knew it. You're sensitive. It's an uncommon quality in a male.
Why don't you apes object to the way you treat them?
Our apes can't talk.
Maybe they choose not to, given the way you treat them.
Apes in cages, right.
As minute 56, we have an Oberon's worth of apes and humans and 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, wild humans, Ape City, minus those 2 gorillas, and humans still on the loose.
All right, visually, we get a bunch of walking and talking as our human and ape party saunters their way through the twining riverbed. I guess that's what that thing would be. But it's a great little location, very sandy, lots of shadows, interesting. But then we cut over to, in about 39 seconds, to a house that is sitting atop a hill that oddly looks a bit like the profile of the gorilla's helmets. We see an ape out looking around before it walks in. We push in. We see an ape laying in the bed, looking sickly with beams of light coming down upon it. And we see Thade approaching that ape. There's not a lot visually to talk about. It's a lot of walking, talking, and then the approach shot. So we begin with, in fact, let me play. I'm going to play the start of the clip again. If there's ever been a clip in a film that completely captures Mark Wahlberg's acting approach, it is this clip. Listen to how much his acting is simply his heavy breathing. Here we go.
That's horrible.
Yeah, we do worse to our own kind.
I don't understand. You seem to possess such intelligence.
Yeah, we're pretty smart. The smarter we get, the more dangerous our world becomes.
I mean, seriously, I just counted 7 times that his response is,
Also, what has he done to prove his intelligence?
Nothing.
That the other humans there aren't doing. I mean, he can talk, he can dress, he can swim. As far as we know, all the other humans can do that.
So we're just gonna say that Ari is kind of like lathering it on here with her compliments to him in this particular moment. Like, you seem to possess such great intelligence, and the one that really just kind of cracked me up is when she says, "You're sensitive. I knew it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, have we met the same person?
Yeah, I mean,
has she been runner of the
the sensitive guy that's been shooting at us and been shooting at other gorillas and calling us gorillas and stuff like that. Yeah, real sensitive.
I also have a problem with that Leo has this line. Yeah, we're pretty smart. The smarter we get, the more dangerous our world becomes. We've seen nothing that
proves
leads him to
yeah.
have that information.
If maybe they've been talking in the first of the movie about how Earth is,
yes,
we have to do this experiment because we've destroyed the atmosphere, and maybe this is going to help us fix it or something like that.
And I think we've talked about that we wish that we understood why they're out there exploring these nebulas, what's going on, why do we see that little echo that pops up at the first in the spaceship. But if we'd seen an ounce of that, this might work.
All of the previous minute and this minute are a writer's commentary on our present world and situation without any context for why it's relevant to this movie. What they've done to the apes, that they live in zoos, that they, smarter become, the more dangerous become. It's just it's just like we're supposed to connect to it as the audience because this is the world we live in.
And the original film did that. And again, I'll go back to a point that I know I've said while we're making this. The original film, we often said it tried to tackle too many social ideas. It was almost like a scene would include 12 ideas instead of just talking about one. This movie, I get it. You can work these things in, but again, you've not earned this moment. It also drives me nuts that he does the smarter we get, the more dangerous our world becomes. I knew it. You're sensitive. Why isn't that? I didn't expect you to be sensitive. Why isn't it that? If she said that would actually... That would make more sense. And then you could still even have the follow-up line with the uncommon quality in a male.
Real quick,
that still works.
Real quick for our listeners, if you hear a weird noise in the background, that is a toy that Gertie has that looks like a robot that you can put treats in, and it rolls around and has a hole in it. So when it knocks it over every now and then, a treat comes out. So you might hear her banging that around.
It's the truth of recording. We come to Sean's, and we get Gertie.
Mm-hmm.
We go to my house, and we get my beagle, Lucy, who might come in and snore loudly. So, look, we have dogs. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't fault this movie for wanting to talk about social issues. That's the best thing that science fiction and even horror can do. I watched X the other day. Have y'all seen X?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that does the same thing where it's almost, my daughter had watched it, and when the old people have sex in it, I said, it's the most shocking thing in the movie. And I think the reason it works so beautifully is that we've seen all the young, pretty people have sex. Why aren't we grossed out by that? And it's almost like, talking about ageism. Mm-hmm. Tell me one place in here where they've done a correlation against what we just have here that it makes me go, oh, I understand. There's none of that.
Not to get off topic, but did you watch, what's the sequel to?
I haven't, Pearl, I haven't seen it. I want to see it.
There is a oneer in there where she does a monologue that you're like, okay, I can see why they didn't cut. She does a really good job.
Oh, yeah, she did a great job on that. Yeah, for sure.
I waited to watch that movie for a while until my kid went away because I wanted to see it without her jibber jabbering in my head.
Okay,
so I'll watch Pearl soon.
All right. Yeah.
We talk about the fact that the smarter we get, the more dangerous our world becomes. I was the one who told you they're having blackouts on Earth because I read it in the script, not because they told us that at a particular point.
Uh-huh.
This is just kind of kind of a left field conversation, I guess, to get the characters to relate to one another, so you can explain where he's from.
Well, if you notice, once he says you're sensitive, most males aren't. You can see her major domo like roll his eyes, like, oh, this shit again.
Yeah.
Well, and you also have Stella Warren going, is she hitting on him?
Well, let's go to your point of the blackouts. Let's go to what they talk about here. Is this another example of this is going up against the writer's strike, and they're cobbling together 2 or 3 drafts to go, oh, that's pretty good. What if we take this? And where else does that come from? If it's not this, they cut it from this draft, but it's here in this draft. It feels like put that scene back in because this works. This is such a hodgepodge script that doesn't have a cohesive whole. Cohesive whole? Yeah, that's it right. But I don't know how else you can explain those things. I really don't. So we get away from their talk, and you're right.
Well,
God, Estella at 21 seconds does have it's both again, who farted, and is that monkey hitting on my boy?
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah, and I still don't know why Ari has this kind of affection for Davidson or humans in general. Like, I don't know what does she want out of this?
Well, it's because her makeup is so human-like. She feels like she has to mate with a human.
So I guess they don't have prisons. I guess nobody's ever committed a crime in Ape City because apes in a cage. Who would ever thought of that? Come on.
Okay, so why don't your apes object to the way you treat them? Is responded with, our apes can't talk. Maybe they choose not to give in the way that you treat them. That again, okay? Why don't they? Well, why don't your humans object? That's what would be my reply.
Yeah. So your
it's
humans
like,
can talk, and they're putting up with this shit.
Her comment, maybe they choose not to, given the way you treat them, is like the perfect place for a cutaway from Family Guy or something like that. Like, it's one of the things where you get the moment where
And
they
then
actually
you
start
see
talking.
how they're treating
Yeah,
them?
they're smoking outside, talking.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a gag
Oh wait,
moment.
here they come. Put it up. Put it
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Yeah.
For whatever reason, Sean's mic
Man, that blew out real quick.
Sean, I struggle with Sean because for whatever reason,
For a
the
lot of
timbre of his voice. Yeah, that's true. The timbre of his voice on a board. I fight to get enough level out of him.
Yeah.
Today, Lord Almighty, I look over
blew
this,
it out. Yeah.
and I've not changed a thing from the last time we recorded. So I do use compression to fix things in the end. So I'm pretty sure that'll be okay. If anyone got their ears blown out, blame Sean. It's his fault.
Well, and let's be honest. We all know our dogs can speak English. They just don't do it around us.
That's
They
right.
understand us when
Yes.
we talk to them. Yeah.
And they can talk to us. They just choose not to.
And then the Limbo has to come back and go, apes in cages, right? It's a weird, funny. It's a comedy.
So when she goes, wait, who said it? Who said the line? Maybe they choose not to. Is it?
Ari says it.
All right. So how does she know how our humans treat our apes? All we know is we have a zoo that we put apes in. We've not said anything else about how we treat apes.
A word she's unfamiliar with. I mean, it might be a spa.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that too. I was like, where is her information of how we treat them? Because
Also-
I tried to look back on past dialogue and I thought, is there enough information for her to say how you treat them, other than that they live in a cage? Well, your humans live in cages, bitch.
And I don't think I ever brought it up, but zoo. I don't understand that word. We have so many English words in common, but zoo is the one you don't understand.
Yeah.
We both speak a base language of the same thing, but all of a sudden zoos are not one word in your vocabulary. All right, anyway.
So okay. Basically, we are getting a little more window into his world in this particular moment, and the fact that he's suggesting that violence is kind of their intelligence has made them more dangerous, whether it's nuclear or environment. Apes have been largely decimated to live in zoos, except for the ones on this experimental spacecraft, and his apes can't talk.
Yeah, and then we get the little apes in cages riot line. Oh, golly, Gertie
Gertie's
surprised the hell out of me. All of a sudden, my finger got nipped.
Apes
Sorry about that.
in cages line sounds like we needed something to cut from this moment.
And it's
to break from this moment.
And it's that staging too, where we get the people walking to the lens, and then the camera actually pushes against. So the camera's been following them as they walk and talk, but now the camera operator knows I need to get Paul Giamatti speaking, and so it actually goes and counters to the right. That is such lazy ass shit right there. That it just all of a sudden goes and it's, oh, now I'm going to follow him. And no one looks at him. We don't get a reaction. It's such a wah, wah, wah. It's horrible.
They also have they have all of these people following Leo, and they don't have purpose or points to do. They have no dialogue. They have no action. They're just like stumbling along, hoping that he's going to lead them to some place where they can get saved. Right. Even though he's like, I'm leaving you guys.
Yeah. What's his plan? He's going to go to his ship and just fuck off.
Exactly.
So once we leave the moment, we then get to
the wide shot.
The wide shot. So this goes back on the idea that we've got this ape city, and then we've got this really, really interesting piece of architecture that's just kind of alone and by itself, like we just saw by the lava flats. And it's this giant, like, helmet-like place. Is the person in this place wealthy? Is this a mansion? It's not part of Ape City. He's not.
So yeah, I'm thinking of it like it's like a suburb to Ape City. Maybe it's like a Las Colinas or something like that. Or it's, I don't have to live in the city.
Being a Dallas suburb.
I don't have to live in the city proper. I have my place outside the city. That's I can get a little more money. I can get a little more land for my money out here. Yeah.
Or is it a hospital? I assume it's a house, but it's
because you see people walking around like at the top. Also here's my other question about Ape City in general. In this, you have no windows. We don't really see any. No, we have seen doors.
We have seen doors, but not everything has a door.
Everything. It's like if it ever rains, like your inside's getting fucked up. I'm sorry. I just like whenever I see beach houses and they've got like open concept that goes right out. There's no closing and everything. I always think when it rains, that means like 5-6 feet of your house is being rained in.
Well, I mean, this is.
We also don't know if this could simply be the top part where you go down and maybe it.
True.
But it definitely resembles.
A little bit like
with
the
intent,
helmet,
like the helmets, that kind of slope. It's a theme, and I'm cool with that. I think it's a beautiful image. And I will say that it's like every time. Oh, I didn't notice the guys down below.
Yeah. You can see like people in the doorway, and then you see one person up top as well.
Yeah, there are two people down below. So that doorway leads into the dwelling. Maybe that top is like an observation area that they go out to pontificate upon Ape World.
I mean, again, for all we know, this is their form of a hospital or hospice or care or something like that. And
Gertie,
what is she doing? Come on,
she's about to unpower me. Stop.
So we move in.
Gertie.
We see an older man in bed, and then we see Thade kind of saunter in. Now, remember from a few minutes ago, somebody said you need to go see your father. So
you got to come quickly.
Your father. And then we have a man kind of curled up in bed, a gray old man.
Gray old man.
And he kind of reaches out towards
real quick,
Thade
the way
and
that
goes,
Thade walking in, Tim Roth is doing his best chimpanzee. His legs are bowed a little bit, and really sways side to side.
I got a rash walk.
Yeah, I need some bum medicine.
My balls hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. So wearing the wrong underwear when I did my 3-miler yesterday, and now
as a funny aside, I played a gig the other night, and my violin player is a woman who is pregnant, 3 months, but she's also one of those people that I can say anything to. As a guy, you have those issues where you're wearing the wrong stuff at the wrong time. I literally got on stage, and she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I go to the left, and it is all to the right." And she's like, "I have never thought of that for you, but it is true, though, is it not? There are those days where it is. That is the longest approach."
That's a big room, a big bedroom.
It would be an okay approach were we to actually know what the relationship between he and his father is instead of just your father wants you. If it was an ominous kind of you're approaching, it's almost like Vader going to the Emperor. If we'd heard this Emperor, these things, we know who he is, that he controls. We don't know who the father is.
Yeah.
And therefore, when I get here, now I know who's in that makeup. I think we knew even when we saw it originally. I know that the internet or something had been enough that we knew he was in it, and when we saw it, we were pretty sure who that was.
When you hear it, yeah.
Well, I mean, this is
when you hear it without question.
He was the. He's what I remember about the promotion of the movie, right? No. That was the big deal.
I'm not saying no to Richard. I'm saying no to Gray. I don't want her to.
But we're going to spend the rest of this week in this room.
Yeah.
So.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. That is the calling card for this film. Get used to it. Does anybody have anything else? I mean, it's beautifully designed. I think these windows that have the same image that we've seen before, the kind of half circle at the top. That's what is it telling us? Where does this all come from? Here is that image yet again.
Yeah.
And we got beams of light coming down as Thade approaches. So it's interesting visually, but at the same time, it has no context and no power in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. Has anybody got anything?
No,
that's it
not
for me.
Monday.
All right, that is a Monday. No truer words have been said. That is a Monday. So everybody, do me a favor. Go out, recommend this thing to your friends. We have seen a lot of people kind of join in. You know, I know that people share that you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this, and if you know there's a Planet of the Apes fan out there, tell them, come to us, listen to this, help us out. We appreciate all of you, and we would appreciate anybody that comes along. So for Richard and Sean, I'm Todd. Everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Come in!